Hey Resilient Church, Pastor Jake here. It's October, and that means two things. One, you probably had way too many pumpkin spice lattes for your own good. And two, we are halfway through our budget year. October is right in the middle between May 1st of 2024 and April 30th of 2025. That's our fiscal year. That's when our budgets and stuff operate. And so because we're at that halfway point, I want to just give you an overview of our financial situation. I'm going to tell you a little bit about where we are financially. I'm going to tell you a little bit about where we're heading financially. And then lastly, we're going to talk about what we need to do financially moving forward. So first, let's start with where we are. As of this recording, we have currently spent $62,295.43 of our $192,435 budget. And we have had a total of $83,442 that have been given to us to date. So that's really good news because that means we have right around $11,000 in revenue currently. So that's evidence that we're being really good stewards of our funds, we're not overspending, and everyone who's given to Resilience being incredibly generous so far. So that's awesome. So let's break down a little bit of what that $83,442 is coming from. $21,083.30 has been given to us by our institutional partnerships. So this includes the district of our denomination, our church planning network, and several of our other partner churches who've helped us get started as a church plant. $26,924.69 has been given by our Resilient Church Partners Program. So this is a network of donors outside of Vermilion who support our ministry financially. This is Resilient alumni, parents of students, or other people who just really believe in what we're doing here. Then $28,919.71 has been given by you, our Resilient Church attenders, through your various tithes and offerings and financial gifts. Lastly, $6,142.29 came in from interest that we've earned in our church's high yield savings account. So far, things are looking really great financially for where we are. We are under budget, we have good revenue, and we have a solid foundation of gifts coming in. But let's take a look at where we're heading. So to support this year's budget, we need to see $192,435 come in by the end of our fiscal year. So that's April 30th of 2025. Here is our current projections for the amount of giving to come in by the end of the fiscal year in April. Here we go. Our institutional partners have pledged to give us $50,000 total by the end of the fiscal year. Our Resilient Partners Program is projected to raise $37,055.61 by the end of the fiscal year. We will begin fundraising for our missions trip this fall, so that will bring in an additional $20,000. Our high yield savings account will bring in about $12,000 in interest by the end of the fiscal year. And then if we continue with our monthly average, we will bring in $70,614.50 as Resilient attenders and tithers by the end of the fiscal year. So all of those numbers add up to a total giving projection of $189,669 by the end of our fiscal year. We're basically on track to be shy of just $3,000 to hit budget. So that's a pretty great place to be from a budgeting standpoint. So we're looking really good there for this year. But that leaves us with a final question. What do we need to do moving forward? Obviously, we need to see our internal giving go up a little bit to cover that final $3,000 for this year, just to make sure we're not overspending. But here's where we're heading in the grand scheme of things with Resilience financials, and I really need us to lean in with this. Since we are a new church plant, we have received incredible generosity from 3-year-long grants provided by our institutional partnerships. However, the last of that grant money runs out this year. That means we need to start being entirely self-sustaining by May 1st, 2025, when the next fiscal year starts. Now, we're in a unique situation because we have such a large student base currently. So that's why we've actually started this Resilient Partners Program to have Resilient alumni, parents of students, and other outside donors support our college ministry and supplement that giving. However, our giving goals for next year's budget will look like the following. $20,000 will be fundraised for our missions trip. It's pretty standard. $50,000 will be fundraised by our partners program, but at least $125,000 will need to be given by you, our Resilient attenders. That's over $50,000 more that we need to see come in than what we currently have projected for our internal giving this year. So we need to see an increase. And with that, at this midpoint for our fiscal year, here's what I'm challenging us to do. To try giving 10% of your income for the next 90 days. We see God tell us in scripture all over the place that He owns everything that we own. None of our stuff is ours, it's all His. And that 10% of the resources He gives us should go back to Him by giving to His local church to support His ministry. And friends, there is just so much joy in being able to give to a cause as amazing as the church you attend and the church that you believe in. Maybe you all have been impacted by the ministry of Resilient and that's why you love it so much. But the reality is we are also a member-funded church. You and your financial offerings are what help us do what we do and see people get baptized and see lives transformed by the gospel of Jesus here in Vermilion. So for the remainder of this year, so up through December, I want to challenge us to try taking 10% of however much you make each month and to give it to Resilient and see what God does in your life as a result. And by the end of this year, if giving 10% of your finances is too much by January 1st and you need that money back, you can let us know. We will refund your gift with no questions asked. But we believe so firmly in the power of this, and I believe so firmly not only what God will do in you through our giving, but that if we start tithing and giving 10% of our finances to the local church at Resilient, we will be fully sustainable as a church family. And that excites me, and I hope it excites you too. So if you're up to take our fall tithe challenge, I just want you to follow the link in the description below of this video, and you can find a link to Church Center where you can set up recurring gifts. So you can just put in that amount, whether you want that to go out once a month, every other week, once a week, you name it, and then that will start to make it all happen. But in the midst of that challenge, I just want to say thank you so much, friends. Thank you so much for your faithfulness and your generosity. Like, we could not do what we do as a church without you and you trusting the Lord and us with those finances that you're giving. And so I am thrilled to see what God does in us and through us because of your continued giving. Here's to the future of our church. Be blessed. Let's see what happens.